To the Free State, farmers there picking up the pieces after runaway wildfires wrecked parts of the province, destroying over 30,000 hectares. Ventersburg is one of the hardest hit areas. My colleague, that's eNCA reporter Khayelihle Khumalo, is currently in Ventersburg to give us a clear picture of the extent of the damage that's been done there. Kaya, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday View. What can you tell us about the farmers there? How are they coping after these devastating fires in parts of the Free State?
Well, undoubtedly, Braden, it's been quite a very rough time for the farmers in this part of the country. And you do know the very immense contribution by the Free State when it comes to South Africa's food security, where we get a lot of agricultural product in this part of South Africa. So we got an opportunity to speak to the farmers, and really they were sharing the devastating stories, really just recollecting some of the very awful times on Saturday when, the massive inferno and the blaze gutted this part of this land, and obviously some of the farmers now are scrambling around and counting the cost. And so far, Braden, we do understand that the provincial government will be undertaking an assessment to try and look at comprehensively how they can try and assist the farmers as well. So a lot of them really now, they're really just scouting around and looking at some of the livestock. And in fact, there was one farmer who just spoke to us who said he was driving across here and some of the livestock, in fact, burnt into death, really just highlighting the very just seriousness of this particular issue.
Yeah, besides the farming community, agriculture, of course, as you said, is an important component of the Free State's economic activity, and that's how it contributes to the country's economic life. There are resorts as well. I mean, there's hospitality places and venues in parts of the Free State. How about them? Have they been affected by these fires?
Well, I'm afraid they have been affected, but then, in fact, we went to one of the resorts, I think it's Al Dam. So they were just showing us around the extent of the very damage that they've incurred and the cost and other related issues as well. So it's been quite a very tough time as well, especially because this was quite a very important time for them to recover after also a very devastating time right at the height of COVID-19 restrictions. So once again, hospitality sector was looking forward to have an opportunity, but then the fire came, and in fact, Braden, we spoke to this manager, and this is what he had to say about the very magnitude of this particular problem.
It's still an ongoing process of evaluating everything and getting all the cost. Although, tourism are already struggling under the COVID regulations with conferences. So, yeah, this is putting us a few steps backwards, and still a lot of work now in front of us to make sure cost is covered and that the resort can actually go on. Luckily, the damage has been limited to certain areas, so we can at least still open doors and still have people coming in and visiting us on the resort.
It looks like it's not just the farmers who are picking up the pieces, also those resort owners. You did mention earlier, Kaya, very briefly, that there are some efforts by the provincial government to assist. Is there any clarity? What kind of assistance could that be?
Well, so far, Braden, so the provincial government is looking at declaring this particular area a disaster and see what kind of resources they can use to try and assist the farmers and other entities that were affected. But of course, this is pending an assessment that will have to be conducted by the provincial government. But of course, the issue around the fires, it's always a prevalent issue. In fact, when we spoke to the Premier spokesperson, Mr. Peterson, he said it is a big concern because there was a point where over 100 sheep were burned to death, and really just highlighting the importance of trying to address this particular issue. But now their investigation is underway to try and understand exactly the underlying cause in terms of the fire that really gutted this region. And this is what Mr. Peterson had to say.
Quite a serious setback economically. As you know that the COVID-19 has also visited quite serious challenges on our economy. You would, as you've correctly indicated, you would know that this is not the first veld fire in the province. That is why we have declared it as a disaster in the province. It's quite a serious setback. We sympathize with the owners, and as government will be working quite closely with them. As you've correctly indicated, we are working very closely as well with the Fire Protection Association. We'll be conducting urgent assessment such that we are able to understand the extent of the damage. But in the interim, once that urgent report comes out, as the provincial government will be able to give the immediate relief.
Okay, Khaya, before I let you go, very briefly, as you were driving around in parts of the Free State, no fires at this stage. Looks like the fires are done now.
Well, thankfully, it looks like the fires are done, Britain, but I can tell you that, as you look at the hectares of the land, you can see the black, grass lying around. You can see that, the aftermath really is really terrible. And in fact, when we spoke to the farmers, they were saying now the priority is for them to try and get the feed for the animals so that they try to bounce back and be able to produce. But there's a great deal of concern here. There's a sense of devastation. It's quite visible wherever you drive in Ventersburg. So other towns as well affected includes the like of Virginia and Winsburg as well.
Thank you very much, Khayelihle Khumalo, live from Ventersburg in the Free State, one of the areas badly affected, devastated by the recent fires.